His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tarik issued 7 royal decrees. Royal Decree number 75/2020 on the state's administrative apparatus. Article 1. The attached system works in the matter of the state's administrative apparatus. Article 2 cancels the Royal Decree number 26/75 and 116/91 and all that contradicts with the decree or that it is attached in the system and all that contravenes with its provisions. Article 3. This decree shall be published in the official gazette and shall come into force from the date of its issue. Royal Decree number 76/2020 on establishing University of Technology and Applied Sciences. Article 1. A government university called University of Technology and Applied Sciences shall be established. It shall have a legal personality and shall enjoy an administrative and financial independence. Its headquarters shall be in the Governorate of Muscat. Article 2. The University of Technology and Applied Sciences shall have a Vice-Chancellor under the special grade. His appointment shall be by a royal decree. Article 3. All jurisdictions, allocations, assets, rights, obligations, properties, and inventories of Rostock College of Education, Colleges of Applied Sciences, Directorate General of Colleges of Applied Sciences in the Ministry of Higher Education, High College of Technology, Colleges of Technology, and Directorate General of Technical Education in the Ministry of Manpower shall be transferred to the University of Technology and Applied Sciences. Article 4. All faculties and academic staff from Rostock Colleges of Education, Colleges of Applied Sciences in the Ministry of Higher Education, High College of Technology and Colleges of Technology in the Ministry of Manpower shall be transferred to the University of Technology and Applied Sciences under the same employment status and the same financial allowances. The staff of such colleges shall be transferred also under the same financial grades. Employees from Directorate General of Colleges of Applied Sciences in the Ministry of Higher Education and Directorate General of Technical Education in the Ministry of Manpower shall be transferred to the University of Technology and Applied Sciences under the same financial grades as per the regulations set forth by Council of Ministers. Article 5. The University of Technology and Applied Sciences shall exercise the jurisdictions established by the Ministry of Higher Education and the Ministry of Manpower and issued by relevant royal decrees and regulations with respect to colleges stated in Article 3 of this decree. The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Technology and Applied Sciences shall exercise the jurisdictions set for Minister of Higher Education and Minister of Manpower that are stated in the royal decrees and regulations mentioned in this article. Article 6. The University of Technology and Applied Sciences by law shall be issued in the royal decree, and until such royal decree is issued, relevant royal decrees and regulations with respect to colleges mentioned in Article 3 hereof shall continue to be applied and in a manner that does not contravene with its provisions. Article 7 cancels all that contradicts with this decree and contravenes with its provisions. Article 8. This decree shall be published in the official gazette and come into force from the date of its issue. Royal Decree number 77/2020 on the Public Authority for Consumer Protection. Article 1. Changing the name of the Public Authority for Consumer Protection to Consumer Protection Authority. Article 2. Replacing the text of the Article 5 from the Public Authority for Consumer Protection System. A board of directors formed through a decision from the Council of Ministers manages the authority and organizes its affairs. The membership duration in the Council is 3 years, renewable once. Article 3. Replacing Public Authority for Consumer Protection and Chairman of the Public Authority for Consumer Protection with Consumer Protection Authority and Chairman of Consumer Protection Authority. Article 4 cancels all that contradicts with this decree and contravenes with its provisions. Article 5. This decree shall be published in the official gazette and come into force from the date of its issue. Royal Decree number 78 of 2020 on changing the name of the Regulatory Authority for Water and Electricity Sector to Public Services Authority, Regulatory Authority, and assigning some specializations to it. Article 1, changing the name of the Regulatory Authority for Water and Electricity Sector to Public Services Regulatory Authority. Article 2, assigning specialization related to regulating the activity of transporting natural gas mentioned in the articles number 4, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 and 31 in the Oil and Gas Law. Article 3, Public Services Regulatory Authority, while practicing its specialization in regulating natural gas transmission activity, has all jurisdiction in it. Issuing licenses related to natural gas transport activity, making concession agreements for natural gas transport. Article 4, the provisions of this decree will not contravene with natural gas transport agreements as per the date of its issue, and the Sultanate is being a part of it. Article 5. The Council of Ministers shall determine other services that are assigned to the Public Services Regulatory Authority. Article 6. Changing titles of Regulatory Authority for Water and Electricity Sector, members of Regulatory Authority for Water and Electricity Sector, Chairman of Regulatory Authority for Water and Electricity Sector, and Executive Director for Regulatory Authority for Water and Electricity Sector, wherever mentioned in laws and royal decrees, with Public Services Regulatory Authority, Board of Directors of the Public Services Regulatory Authority, Head of Board of Directors of Public Services Regulatory Authority, and Chairman of Public Services Regulatory Authority. Article 7, replacing titles of the Ministry of Oil and Gas, the Minister of Oil and Gas, wherever mentioned in Article number 4, 27, 28, 29, 30 and 31 of the mentioned Oil and Gas Law, which is related to regulating natural gas transport activity, with Public Services Regulatory Authority and Chairman of the Public Services Regulatory Authority. Article 7 cancels all that contradicts with this decree and contravenes with its provisions. Article 8. This decree shall be published in the official gazette and come into force from the date of its issue. Royal Decree number 79 over 2020 on the specializations of the Ministry of Education and its organizational structure. Article 1 determines the specialization of the Ministry of Education according to the attached Annex number 1. Article 2 approves the organizational structure of the Ministry of Education according to the attached Annex number 2. Article 3 cancels all that contradicts with this decree and all that contravenes with its provisions. Article 4, this decree shall be published in the official gazette and come into force from the date of its issue. Royal Decree number 80 of 2020 on the organizational structure of the Ministry of Health. Article 1 approves the organizational structure of the Ministry of Health according to the attached annex. Article 2 cancels all that contradicts with this decree and all that contravenes with its provisions. Article 3, this decree shall be published in the official gazette and come into force from the date of its issue. Royal Decree number 81 of 2020 on appointing in some positions. Article 1 appoints the following: Dr. Saeed bin Hamid bin Saeed Al-Rubai, Chancellor for the University of Technology and Applied Sciences with the same financial decree. Dr. Abdullah bin Khamis bin Ali Ambu Saidi, Under Secretary of the Ministry of Education for Education, Dr. Majid bin Saeed bin Sulaiman Al-Bahri, Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Education for Administrative and Financial Affairs. Dr. Mohammed bin Saeed bin Khalfan Al-Ma'mari, Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Endowments and Religious Affairs. Dr. Fatima bint Mohammed bin Bakr Al-Ajmiya, Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Health for Administrative, Financial and Planning Affairs. Ahmed bin Salim bin Rashid Al-Rujabi, Deputy Chairman for the State Financial and Administrative Audit Institution for Financial and Administrative Audit for the State Administrative Audit Institution with a special grade. Dr. Mansour bin Talib bin Ali Al-Hinai, Chairman of the Public Services Regulatory Authority with a special grade. Slayem bin Ali bin Slayem Al-Hakmani, Chairman of the Consumer Protection Authority with a special grade. Engineer Umar bin Hamdan bin Hamoud Al-Ismaili, Chief Executive Officer for Telecommunication Regulatory Authority with a special grade. Article 2. This decree shall be published in the Official Gazette and come into force from the date of its issue.